What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Deck 9 and what they've talked about in regards to the future of Life is Strange. So there was an interesting article or interview, I guess, that was done from digitalspy.com. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. And there's a couple different ones. There's one from Inverse that several of, like, the quotes, like the main, I don't know, like the buzzwords, the buzz phrases, they've been going around on social media and stuff. A lot of those I actually think come from Inverse, but thought this one was actually maybe more interesting because they talk about a couple different themes and where the franchise might be going. Now, things are kind of in flux, and we'll see, if they're allowed to do things or if they're forced to do things. But I thought this would be kind of fun to read through this article and discuss it with you guys. And before I get too far, I don't want to really super derail it, so I should probably just shut up and get into it. But I do want to thank you guys. Just a really quick thank you just for all the support and just all of you guys watching these videos and the kind words in the comments. It means a lot. And we don't have to agree on everything Life is Strange, but I'm really glad that we're doing this, and I got lots more videos planned, and hopefully we can do this for a long time. So I just wanted to do a sincere thank you guys just for checking it out, watching the videos, and anything else is above and beyond. So thank you. All right, let's get into it. So Deck 9's narrative director said that they wanted to explore the ethics of using superpowers and suggested that they're very, very interested in exploring this topic further in a potential sequel. The other Life is Strange games, especially the first one with Max, allow the player to do a number of things that, spun it differently, could be considered villainous, and Max absolutely has a fraught relationship with this. I think anytime we have a realistic examination of supernatural powers in a grounded, emotional world, the question of what is or isn't moral, what is and isn't right of somebody, and are these powers to be used or not to be used will come up. She continued, a key thing we were so excited to do with this particular group of characters is that all the people in the mundane part of the mystery are in some way, every single one of them, marginalized or limited in what they can do. And Safi is coming out of that environment as perhaps the only person who can look at the range of choices available to her, or at least the choices that she perceives available to her, and use her powers to do something that they can't. So we are very, very interested in exploring, not only for Safi, but also for Max and anybody else that we might tackle again, what further ramifications of powers in someone's life, and what are the true moral boundaries when you were talking about something that transcends normal abilities. And they said, as much as we want a double exposure to be an all-encompassing one-stop shop in terms of a fantastic story and a bunch of catharsis for Max, there are also a great many seeds planted that would be interesting to explore if we were given the chance. Telle, who obviously plays Max, said it would be incredible if she had the opportunity to reprise her famous role again. There are many, many directions we could go. It remains a priority that any deeper exploration of supernatural or any combination of them remains very grounded in realistic emotion and has some core relevance to real life issues. Now, okay, here's the deal. Honestly, good amount of that stuff I like. I wanted to do this, and I knew of this article when I did yesterday's video, but I didn't read like the whole thing, so I didn't know like the specifics. But it's interesting because it kind of goes to what we talked about yesterday with the MCU and this, assembling of people. And look, there is a balance. I do think you can do it. And actually, in the video I did yesterday, I saw a lot of people in the comments saying, yeah, I actually want that, which I predicted, right, in the video. I said, there is a fair amount of people. I don't necessarily agree. I don't think, I just don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I trust having like 3, 4, 5, 6 people with powers in a game, and I just don't see how that won't get away from them. And now I will say, from what we see in this article, like, that is the stuff I want to hear. Like, you've got to keep it grounded. You got to keep it, like they say, like, it's got to be in moral things. It's got to be in like real life, kind of situations. And, that is the DNA of Life is Strange. Like, again, as I said, even in the base game, there are times they really get it. I don't know if I would say fully like Deck 9 completely gets Life is Strange. I think generally they do. And I think definitely at times they really get it. And something like that, yeah, I think that is absolutely what Life is Strange is, right? We talked about it yesterday. Max goes through so much in the first game, and the first game is so much of everything, right? You got the Kate stuff, you got the Rachel stuff, you got the relationship and friendship between Chloe and Max, right? You have so much stuff, and then you have the powers and like what that does to really mess it up, and all these other moral things that come in because of it. Like that generally is these games, right? They're real life life things. They're things that are very personable. They're things that are very relatable. But then you have powers that kind of adds like that extra layer. And that is Life is Strange. It's not Marvel. It's not you're going to have this big battle where everybody's running together and they're shooting these powers. And actually, I saw a couple of funny comments in yesterday's video of like, what powers are even aggressive, right? Like Daniel's are the only one that's the Force, right? He can literally like push things and he can hurt people. So, Max, I think, is very like tricky with her powers. Alex is pretty like, I don't know, like she can really get to people or through people, I guess, however you want to look at it. There are very powerful powers in this game, or in this franchise, I should say, right? But in terms of like ones that damage each other, there's not, there's not too many. So if you were to assemble them, and that's the thing, if you assemble them in this giant group, who are they going up against, right? And the answer might be, maybe they don't go up against anybody, right? Or maybe Safi, now, and I guess that kind of leads me to a thing that, again, I'm reading it, I'm liking what I hear, but then you play the game, and I gotta say, last night, after I did the last video, before I did this one, I finished my replay. Okay, so I replayed Life is Strange Double Exposure. I chose the other choices. So I watched the last, 2 hours. I played chapters 4 and 5. I really tried to look at it unbiased, like, okay, let's look at it again. Some things changed a little, some things didn't change at all. And, the Safi thing is like she is a complex character, and she's somebody that's going through things, but she is somebody that just gets evil. She just does. She just flips a switch, and she's talking about gods, and she's, I get how she can get there, I suppose, like enough stuff has happened to her to push her to that area, but she just, to me, she comes across over the top, too evil, too over the top. And as I keep saying, like, it's just not something I think Max would ever like go along with. If Safi's going out there like trying to rule the world how she feels, she literally talks about shaping the world as she feels, like however she wants the world to be, she's gonna make it that. There's like, I don't know, there's like a relatable thing where you can like tell people as advice, like, you make the most of the world, or hey, like if you have a strong belief in, say, art, right? Like pursue it. And I could say that as advice to you right now, right? Like go for it. You know what I mean? There's like that idea where it's like, hey, make the world something that you want to be living in, like, treat others the way you want to be treated, stuff like that. The way Safi talks about it, I don't think is that, right? Where it's not, hey, pursue your passion, like really go for it. Or, hey, you put the best of yourself out in the world and the world hopefully reciprocates. No. This is Safi saying, if I don't like something, I'm going to morph into that person and I'm going to change things. And that's not right. That's not right. So, I like the idea that future games would tackle, because they say, these moral things. And I think that's kind of, it has to be where it's going. Because Max has always questioned herself. I think Max is actually too tough on herself. Again, actually replaying it, it's like, Jesus, Max. I know she's working through things, and by the end of the game, she really does work through things. But, the blame that she puts on herself is too much. I think I can say it's too much. Obviously, that's how she feels, and I actually think that's a cool dynamic. But, I like that idea. And I guess that's kind of where it has to go. But again, I just feel like that can get away from you so far, so fast, because another thing, and we've even mentioned this in the past, right? Like the games aren't first and foremost the superpowers. And like if you're dealing with a collection of people that have superpowers, or the idea of like how morally right is it to use power certain ways? Well, I keep bringing up a certain word, don't I? Right? I keep saying the freaking word of powers, and it is a big part of the game, but it's not the game, right? That's not the blend that these games have captured so well up until this point. So I guess that's kind of the point I'm trying. We can have respectful disagreements, and we have. Again, I'm sure not everybody's going to agree with what I'm saying right now, but I feel like that part is kind of unanimous. Like at least most people think that way when it comes to Life is Strange, right? Powers are not first and foremost. I just feel like if you get a collection of these people and you literally have like a battle of, or you literally assemble them. Like Safi's literally going out to find these people. She's assembling a group of people, right? Well, like where do you expect it to go from there, right? They're going to cause chaos, right? And it's like, okay, chaos, that's going to cause the storm again. And, there's going to be this moral conundrum where it's like, are we using powers and it's like, are for good or bad, or our perception of good or bad? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of too big. I feel too big, but actually that's also very simple. It's kind of cliche, so I don't know. I don't know perfectly where you go from here. They do like the things about keeping it grounded and keeping it in the DNA of Life is Strange, you like to hear those things, and I think generally they mean them. I do. Like, I don't think they're coming at it like purposely to destroy things. You know, if you're going like the Chloe Max thing, you know, there could be limitations of what they're allowed to do and stuff. I don't know if they're in it to like burn the franchise to the ground or purposely like not understand what Life is Strange is. I think, again, generally they do, and it gets away from them every now and then. Now, I mean, hey, if it gets away from you once, that can still be a pretty big deal depending on what that decision is in your game. In this game, you introduce now 3 people with powers, right? Safi, Max, and now Diamond, and now you're getting a group of them at the end of the game. Then you might now go back to Alex, and you know what's interesting about that one line kind of earlier on, right? I don't know if they're talking about specifically the Moses group because they talk about the people kind of without powers, but they talk about like people that they would tackle again. Could be the group of Double Exposure, right? Vin, Moses, Amanda, stuff like that. Could also mean characters they've tackled, which really is only Alex, right? Because you think about, like, I guess Before the Storm, but you probably don't count that. So Double Exposure and True Colors. So, like, are they talking about Alex in that? Like, when they're saying that out loud to the interviewer? Or are they talking about the group from Double Exposure? Could be both. Because Alex could very easily be pulled into this. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's stuff to talk about. Like, without a doubt, no matter what, you might like the direction, not like it, be kind of in the middle. Totally cool. It's going to be an incredibly interesting next, like, 1 to 2 years, right? Because eventually, like, they'll show it, whatever the next game is, and then we'll kind of immediately know the direction they're going. The next little while, 1 to 2 years, maybe is little to some people, but maybe not to others. But, you know, in that time, it's more about the speculation of, like, you know, would they go all the way? Would they go halfway? Like, what would they actually do? Oh, and for what it's worth, I actually watched Insider Gaming did a interview with Hannah Telle, who was, I'd say, pretty good. The interviewer only played the first 2 chapters, so, like, he really couldn't get too into things with her, but it was a really good interview. It's always good to hear Hannah just kind of go off, and for what it's worth, she did say that she doesn't know anything about the future, but that she's very, very excited and that she would love to go back as Max. She thinks there's a lot more story to tell with Max. So some of that feels rehearsed, right? The whole idea of, like, yeah, there's more story to tell with this character. You hear that a lot. I do find it funny that she starts it off by literally saying she doesn't know anything about the future, even the idea of Max Caulfield will return. She doesn't know anything, but she's very, very excited about the future. So I feel like that's a lie, and that's fine. I feel like that's a purposeful lie that she does know, because, you know, if they're working on this, you imagine they've already started this next game probably a couple months ago. She probably has had at least one conversation, so she probably has to now lie about it. It is what it is, but I just found it kind of interesting, that answer. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.